In this video, I'm exposing some of the biggest myths people have and believe about unschooling and why they're completely wrong. If you've ever been told that unschooling is lazy, irresponsible, or just plain weird, then stay tuned because you're about to hear the truth from someone who's actually lived it. If you're new here, welcome. My name's Liana, and I never went to school. At least I didn't go when I was a kid. I was unschooled from birth until I was 16 years old when I started college. I went on to get an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, and a master's degree. I'm 42 years old, and I'm now raising my own two children. And of course, I am unschooling them as well. I help parents release that fear of unschooling, all of the various fears around unschooling, so they can confidently parent their children without school. So let's get into these myths. Myth number one, unschoolers don't actually learn anything. This first one is big. The fear that if a child isn't forced to learn, they won't. But the reality, humans are wired to learn. You don't have to make a baby learn to walk or talk. They're naturally driven to do it, or at least to try. Unschooling doesn't mean no learning. It means learning through life, through interest, through real experiences, and on their own timeline. I learned to read, write, prepare for college, and be a functional member of my community without going to school. My kids are doing the same thing right now. And just to be clear, we still do use learning tools like textbooks or software, flashcards, worksheets, all sorts of traditional learning materials when specific skills are being built, but not because it's 9 a.m. and time to do school because it's Tuesday. But instead, because the child has a desire to learn a specific skill. They have a goal that they'd like to achieve. When that happens, you can implement targeted learning activities to meet that specific goal. And that is still very much unschooling. Myth number two, unschooling is just letting kids do whatever they want. This one makes me laugh. Unschooling is not chaos. It's not neglect. It's not no parenting. But I'm also not going to lie. This myth has legs right now in our culture. And that's because I think there are a lot of people unparenting and calling it unschooling. That might not be a popular opinion, but it's what I see as a lifelong unschooler. I'm trying to get the message out to unschooling families that it's still okay to parent your kids, to set and hold boundaries. You can have bedtimes and chore charts and behavioral expectations and standards, whatever you feel like your family needs for you to maintain leadership within your family and to guide your children. I have a whole video on this, and I will link it below if you want to learn more. Unschooling is intentional, present, respectful parenting that supports a child's autonomy, their curiosity, their development. Unschooling parents are highly engaged and taking full responsibility for their children's personal and educational development. And we don't need to control our kids, but we should still lead them. And myth number three, unschoolers won't be able to get into college or get a job. This fear is rooted in our beliefs about school-based success, but it simply is inaccurate. Many colleges welcome homeschoolers and unschoolers. Some even actively recruit them. And employers, they tend to care more about your work experience, skills, creativity, the work ethic that you bring to the job than your transcripts, especially your transcripts from middle school and high school. As I mentioned at the start of the video, I was unschooled and I went on to get an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, and a master's degree. And my adult life has been full of rewarding, well-paid work with colleagues that I've built wonderful relationships with in both traditional employment, contracting, and self-employment. And this has actually been an area of ease in my life and in the lives of many other unschoolers that I know. Myth number four, parents aren't qualified to educate their kids. This myth is built on the assumption that education is something done to kids by experts. But unschooling shifts that perspective. We don't need to replicate school at home. We need to create an environment where learning is natural, encouraged, and supported. Unschooling parents don't need to have all the answers. We just need to be willing to learn with our kids. That's real education. I didn't expect my mom to always know the answer to questions I had growing up, but I knew she would find the answers to those questions with me. And learning alongside your child shows them how to learn. So many people grow up thinking they have to be taught something instead of knowing that they can go and learn anything they want whenever they want to. Myth number 5, unschooled kids will be weird. This one always was my favorite growing up. Almost every time we met someone new, they would comment on how we seemed so normal, and they would never have guessed we were homeschooled. That was a point of pride for me when I was a kid, but now I view it much differently because the truth is, I had no idea at the time, but I was not normal. I had friends of all different ages. I spent my day doing things I loved. I was clear on what I wanted and how to get it, and I really liked myself. I could hold a conversation with adults just as well as I could enjoy playtime with children my own age. I had no anxiety about academics. I was comfortable asking when I didn't know the answer to something, and I was just as comfortable sharing knowledge about things I knew a lot about. For, let's say, a 10-year-old in 1993, this was not normal. School isn't exactly a model of healthy socialization. Grouping kids by age, enforcing rigid behavior and learning standards, constant comparison to peers in both body, personality, academics, this can do real damage to a child and their developing sense of self. Unschooling kids socialize with all aged people in their families, communities, interest groups, online, volunteering. I mean, the list is endless. The possibilities go on and on. So my question is, why are we afraid of having weird, unschooled kids if they're weird in ways that will set them up for good mental health and social success as adults? So the next time someone throws one of these myths at you, remember, most people are just repeating what they've heard, not what they've lived. The truth is that unschooling is radical, and most people will never get over the fears represented by these myths. And for them, it is too scary to live outside of society's norms. Sometimes I struggle with the term unschooling because my life had nothing to do with school. I grew up without school. No expectation for when you learn something or how you learn it. No comparison to other kids your same age. No worries that you aren't progressing. You can live as if school doesn't even exist. Learning has nothing to do with school. If you're curious about unschooling or already on that journey but feeling uncertain, make sure you like this video, subscribe. I put out new videos every Saturday. And check out the links below. There is a link to my free 5-day mini course. And in that course, I teach you from my grown unschoolers perspective what really matters for unschooling success. And I will give you a hint. It is not co-ops or getting enough socialization. Do you have other myths that you've heard of that I didn't cover? Put them in the comments and I may include them in a future video. And let's keep busting those myths, and I'll see you next week.